Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Julie and my channel name is Foxy Arrow. In this video, we are doing a market recap for the oddities market that I had this past weekend. So what I'm going to do is show you a few clips that I've taken the day of the market, as well as when I was there kind of setting up, things like that. I didn't get many clips of the market just because they had music playing very, very loud throughout the entire time, which was great when you were there, but trying to record just was impossible. I was trying to wait for some gaps in the music and it just didn't happen. So I'll show you what I do have, and then I will meet you back here and I will go through every item that I sold and tell you how it went. It's market day. Today is, what is today? November 16th. It is the oddities market. My car is packed up. I'm waiting for my boyfriend and we're going to go there. It's probably a, I don't know, 10, 20 minute drive. So I will see you when we get there and I'll show you my setup and I'll try to take you along throughout the day. So let's go. All right, it's kind of loud in here, but this is my setup so far. I might change it, but this is what I'm starting with. I have a few minutes before the market starts, so what I'm doing is I have these plastic bags for when people purchase an item, and I'm including a sticker, my business card, and there's also a little warning thing in here that just says choking hazard. So that's what I include in all my little bags, and I'm just getting those ready while I have a few minutes. All right, I changed it up. We're dealing with this. This is how I had it set up at home. Way easier. Now we're in line with everybody else. This is kind of what's going on. Okay, here is the recap portion of the video. I'm just gonna walk you through all of my sales as well as kind of describe how the market went, would I do it again, how was it organized, things like that. So I kind of talked a little bit about it in my last few videos where this was an oddities market. And when I say oddities, it was odd. Like there was a lot of odd things. There were book vendors, there were kind of trinket vendors, there were some stained glass, wood carvings, food, some creepy things like snakes, spiders, wet specimens, all kinds of things. And so was this the market for my art, I guess? Like, probably not. I did do this market last October and November, and it is indoor, it is air conditioned, it's well organized. So, and it's in my local town. So it made it super easy to get to, set up, all of those things. So that's why I did it again this year. Last year I didn't do great in terms of sales, but again, I didn't really have anything to compare it to. It was, I think it was my second market in Florida. The other market I did was over on the Gulf, and I think I made one sale. That was awful. So I guess compared to that, I did great last year. So anyways, the market itself is wonderful. Is that my crowd to sell my plushies, my crochet items? Probably not. So, and if I'm like trying to figure out where to like look in this video, I apologize if I'm making you dizzy. So it was just really, it was really slow. And I think it was really slow for everybody. I talked to my vendor neighbor and she was kind of doing like the creepy cool things. And she said that earlier in the year, she did really, really well. But this particular market, like I barely saw her do any sales at all. So I think people were just not shopping. There were a lot of people there walking around. It was busy the entire time. It's just people weren't buying, which is fine. I understand the economy is kind of tight right now. So when I talked about that in my last few videos, I knew that. I lowered my prices. I was trying to like accommodate the situation. But Anyways, great market, probably not my crowd. Would I do it again? I don't know. They have this market every single month. So I don't know, probably not. Based on the amount of time that I put in this time, I probably won't do it again. And I'll show you and I'll talk about everything. I did make some sales and I had a good time, but it's just probably not my market. What I think I'm gonna do in the future is try to find other indoor markets. I've done outdoor markets selling a vast array of things outside of crochet, and I have a love-hate relationship with markets in general, especially outdoor markets. Every time I do an outdoor market, I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. The weather's bad. Everything gets dirty. I just don't enjoy it. So the reason I chose this market, first off, it's close and it was indoors. So my goal for next year is to do some more research and try to figure out what other markets are close by me indoor, because I live in Florida, so it's hot basically all year round. So I need to do some research and find some other indoor markets that I can participate in next year, especially during the holiday season. So I'm going to start prepping now for next holiday season, and I'm going to try to get into some newer markets indoor. And I'll keep you posted on all of that. What else? I have some notes here so I don't forget anything. Let's see. So I've pretty much described the market. It was well organized, like I said. The first time I did this market, it was under a different organizer, and he was great. And then it switched to a guy and a girl, and they were wonderful too. So it was well organized. I have no complaints there. What I did, well, I will mention, was the first time I did this market last year in October and November, I had a corner spot, which basically you can have, they provide you an 8-foot table, and then I brought an additional table, so I had both sides. This was the first time I did an inline spot, meaning I had 2 neighbors on each side of me. They provided the 8-foot table, and I think maybe in my video that I'll include, you'll see my original setup, and then that just was turning into a nightmare because you have an 8 by 8 foot space, but then you're in between people. And so what I was trying to figure out, and I was against a wall, so I was trying to figure out, if I put my 8-foot table in certain ways, how do I get out to go to the bathroom? And so originally I had set it up in like an L version, and then left myself like just enough room to get out the front so I wouldn't have to walk behind everybody else's booth to get out. And that was not great because my vendor neighbor, when I did it that way, she was like coming into my booth all the time, and that's how she was using to get out. So she was coming into my booth to get out, and the way she had her table set up, people would have been coming into my booth to look at her stuff. So it was driving me insane. So last minute, like 20 minutes before the market opened, I pulled my table up to the front, and then my other table that I had as a workstation, I put on the side, kind of blocking that neighbor. She was super nice, but just not aware of space, you know what I'm saying? So I set it up that way, and I did check with the 2 neighbors beside me. I had 2 other ones beside me. The one beside me had a double booth, and then the gentleman on the end just had, his L-shaped one booth. And I checked with both of them and asked if it's okay if I go behind them to get out to use the restroom or whatever I have to do. And they're like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be sitting up this way, which is what I thought. But when I looked at the other side of me, the vendors were all the way to the back. There's no way you could get out. Like, they did not follow the rules, I don't think. But whatever, it is what it is. So anyways, that is that portion. I think I've discussed everything I want to talk about before I jump into this. So I'm just going to go through, I don't have that many transactions and sales, so I'm literally just going to go through each item. I need to figure out how to do the cool, like, pop up a picture thing. I'm still learning YouTube and editing and all that. So I'll probably do that in the future, but for now, I do have some items here that are duplicates that I can show you. It might be a different color, but I'll show you that so you can kind of visualize what I'm talking about. And then everything that I am talking about, I did show in my prior videos, especially the one before this, which is the inventory video. So, and also I should say before I forget, all the patterns are linked in the description below in a Google Doc. So if you see any of these patterns, it should be listed below. If you have any questions about those patterns, or if you don't see something, let me know. Shoot me a comment and then I'll respond back to that. Okay, let's get into it. I'm sure this is what everybody's been waiting for. So I'm just gonna go from top to bottom in order of what items sold and the amount it sold for. Of course, the first item that I sold was a baby possum, and I don't have any more of those because that is an item that actually sold out. But I do have enough hang on. Actually, let me pause. I'm gonna grab this real quick. Okay, what I did grab, this isn't the possum, but it's the possum pattern, but just in possum colors. So all I did for this was just put it in white. But so this size, imagine a possum, I sold one of these and I sold it for $7. And that was a card purchase through Square. The second item, let's see here, was a bee. And it was this rainbow bee, very cute. And if I remember the patterns, I'll tell you, but I don't think I remember half of them. I think this is Shop Safari Stitches. It's the free Instagram pattern on her Instagram. So I sold one bee and I sold it for $7. And that was also on card. I sold another possum, baby possum. Oh, just kidding. I sold the Ollie, the possum, you know, the big one. I only made one of him, so he was about this big, and I had him in my last video, so I sold Ollie the possum for $25, and that was cash. I sold Tilly the kitty in the Fable collection. I only made one of her. I made it in that dark, it was black with, I think, either green or yellow eyes. I can't remember, but I did sell Tilly the kitty and for $15, and that was cash. I sold another possum for $7, and that was in cash. I sold a leggy frog like this, same color. I sold that for $5. I sold two baby spiders, and it's this pattern, but I didn't sell it in yellow. I sold two baby spiders in black with the embroidered eyes. I put little X's for the eyes. So I sold two baby spiders for $5 each. That was cash. I sold one rat in gray. This one's the baby sand brown, but I sold a rat for $10 in a gray color. I think it was like a medium gray. And that was cash. I sold another baby spider for $5. That was card. And I think that one was, at the end of the day, I sold all three black baby spiders and I sold that green speckled one. So this was probably, I don't remember which order it was, but so just keep that in mind. Three black ones, one kind of bright green speckled. So I sold a baby spider for $5 and that was card. I sold a snake and it's similar to this, just different color. And it was the other Bernat blanket, granny square type yarn. So I sold a snake for $5. I sold another baby spider for $5. I sold a blue Mabel the chicken and it was in these tweed colors, but it's in that blue tweed Bernat blanket. I sold that for $7. I sold, I keep saying I sold. That's probably really annoying, huh? Gray kitten. And this is the Annie Caraway Art kitten pattern. And so I sold it not in orange, but I sold it in gray, kind of that medium gray color again. I sold that for $10. I sold another snake for $5. Next was another possum for $7. I only brought 3 baby possums and I sold all 3. I sold another gray kitten. So I sold, out of all the colors that I've made, I only made 2 gray kittens and I sold both. So I sold another one for $10. And the last few purchases have been in cash. I sold a paperclip bookmark. I don't think the paperclip itself was this color. but it was in this blush pink. I think it had a different, it was either gold or rose gold paper clip, but I sold a paper clip for $3. And then I sold a macrame keychain, and again in a different color. It had the same gunmetal top, but it was the terracotta orange. I sold that for $4. So that's everything. That's everything I sold. That was a total of 19 items, which isn't bad. I mean, compared to last year, I think I sold between, I don't know, 20 and 30. So obviously it was significantly less. But I think this year, the items that were purchased were lower. So my total of all those 19 items was $147. My booth fee was $65. We bought lunch for $19. And that is a net of $63. And that's before square fees and time and materials. So if you factor all that in, this was, they opened up at 10, so 10 to 12 was setup time, and the market was from 12 to 4. So for about 6 hours, $63, not including taking out my time and material and all that. I don't think it was really worth it. It was fun getting out for the day and trying it again, but that's why I say that I probably won't do this market again for a while, if at all. Nothing bad about the market. The market's great. The vibe is great. The organizers are wonderful, but sales-wise, it's just not the right time. And again, I don't think it's my crowd. I think I need to find other markets that aren't oddities. Like, I just don't fit in there. You know what I mean? I guess you know what I mean. So let's see. So of that, $147, Square had $19 and cash was $128, and the Square fees were only 97 cents. So I think that's it. Some other things I did want to mention before I hop off was, I appreciate you coming along with me the last few, 3 or 4 weeks of market prep. That's been really fun. Like, I've done this before in the background, but I've never done YouTube videos about it. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I appreciate all my new subscribers. I don't think you realize how much that means to me. I love when you guys comment. If you've made it this far, I'll say it now before the end. If you've made it this far, put a chicken in the comment. And yeah, it's just been really fun. So what's coming next? So like I mentioned, I'm gonna look for other indoor markets. It probably won't be for this holiday season. I think I'm too late in the game. I'll probably start doing a spring or summer market, and then definitely I want to try to get into some holiday markets for next year indoor. Also, what I'm going to do next is I have all of my plushies that did not sell at the market, and I'm kind of separating them for now. So what I'm going to do is I've separated them into 2 categories. The first category is I'm putting these back into my booth, into my antique booth that I've showed you in a previous video. And so what I'm doing, I'm putting old tags on it that if I had it in my booth before, I'm putting the old tags on it, and then that makes life easy. If it's new items that weren't in my booth, I'm going on to my antique booth kind of website where you create listings, and I'm creating a tag for that, submitting that. And then everything else that's not going to my booth right away, I am going to put on Etsy. I've sold a million things on Etsy. I've sold macrame, crochet, other crochet, not plushies, and other like vintage items on a different channel, or not channel, page on Etsy. So I've sold a bunch of different things, but this is gonna be the first time that I actually sell plushies on Etsy. And I'm starting out small. So what I'm gonna do is list the items that are smaller and easier to ship, either in smaller boxes or even like poly bubble mailers. I wanna be able to have quick, small items that I can ship that just make life easy. So if you've seen anything in the last few videos, check out my Etsy page. It's actually linked to my website, which is www.foxyarrow.com, and that will link you directly to my Etsy page. And right now, if you go there early, you'll probably see a couple patterns and then a lot of my macrame stuff. So I'm gonna be adding my crochet items over the next couple of weeks and getting those listed. So look for that. Also, Another video idea that I have coming up is, so I told you in the last few videos that we were planning on moving. Well, we've kind of decided to stay put for now, but the problem with that is I sold all of my craft room furniture. So I have I didn't have any furniture in my craft room because I sold it, and then I had packed up everything. So I've been using my craft room as a storage area for all of our totes that we were, going to move with. So in one of the next videos that I'm going to post over the next couple of weeks is basically let's redo my craft room. So I'm taking you along in that process of picking out new furniture, putting together new furniture, organizing, and basically revamping the whole space. And I think in probably a few videos ago, you can see my old craft room, and it was all white furniture, which I love. But this time I wanted to do something different. So I went with a darker wood color, which I've never really decorated a craft room in a darker wood color. So this is gonna be different. I'm trying to give it a little bit of like a moody look, which sounds kind of weird. And so when you look up on Pinterest, like moody craft rooms, like they barely exist. Most of them are white, bright, all of that, which mine's still gonna be bright. It's just gonna have a wood base, a darker wood base, kind of like this, if not a little bit darker, of base furniture. So anyways, that's gonna be a video coming up, just kind of working with me on getting that all set up. I have another really pretty farmhouse bookcase that should be delivered tomorrow, I think. It was coming from New Jersey. So hopefully that comes in, not damaged, all of that. I can set that up and that'll be part of the video too. So yeah, so that's what I have coming up. So I'm just gonna be doing weekly vlogs going forward, and craft room redo. And then I have a special project that I'm working on with my mom and my sister. They live in Ohio, and we're going back for Christmas in the next few weeks. And so we have a granny square blanket project that we're working on, where my sister's making about 60 squares, my mom's making 60 squares, and I'm making 60 squares. And when I go back for Christmas, we're literally gonna trade like a third, and then we're each gonna make our own blanket, but it's gonna be kind of made up of each of our squares. So it's gonna be kind of cool. We've never done this before. So we had this idea last year, and we gave each other a year to get the squares done, which, I mean, with life and everything, it gets busy. So we have that coming up. And so I'll kind of, over the next couple of weeks, I'll show you what squares I've made, and yeah, I'll take you along for that project as well. So that's going to be a video coming up probably towards the end of the year, and I can show you all the cool squares that we've made. But I think that's it. I think that's my market recap video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you, like I've said before. And if you like this content, I would appreciate if you could like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And again, as a reminder, all of the patterns that you've seen in this video and others will be linked in a Google Doc. Thank you again for hanging out with me. I will see you next time. Bye.